Mummies have fascinated humanity for centuries. While some mummies, known as anthropogenic, exist due to a process of deliberate preservation, many mummies were spontaneously preserved due to environmental factors. In 1991, the oldest mummy in Europe was found on the Austrian-Italian border. Preserved in a glacier, the Iceman, or Ötzi, is over 5,000 years old. Following this discovery, Eurac research in Bolzano, Italy, founded the Institute of Mummy Studies in 2007.
Bolzano has become the center of mummy studies because of the Iceman, commonly known as Ötzi. It's one of the world's most famous mummies that was found in the Alps almost 30 years ago. And we started to study the mummy here in Bolzano by applying various types of research on him. We were able to find out how he lived, what diseases he had, and also how he finally died. And this was, let's say, the starting point for creating a mummy center here in Bolzano.
The Institute for Mummy Studies has invested in 3 labs. Situated beside each other, they enable coordinated scientific research. These consist of the Physical Anthropological Lab, the Ancient DNA Lab, and the Conservation Technology Lab. The process begins in the Anthropological Lab.
In this lab, we perform anthropological investigations. First of all, we need to reconstruct the skeleton of an individual. Then we determine the sex and the age of death. We can measure the bones and try to calculate the stature of an individual. Then we can focus on the ancient disease. So we try to look at the bones and to detect some evidence of lesions of disease. Following the anthropological analysis and the study of the disease at the level of the bone, we can select a sample of bone to date, for instance, the skeleton that we analyze, and also to perform isotopic testing to reconstruct the diet of the individual and also to better understand the mobility patterns of a given population.
In the Ancient DNA Lab, researchers carry out the molecular analysis of ancient human remains.
These samples are really unique, so we can extract information from the past. We can look back into the past. We have a molecular clock here in our hands, so we can go back thousands of years and we then compare these data to our modern data sets. By this we can learn the evolution of humankind also. And without looking into the past, we would not have this opportunity. This laboratory structure is, in my opinion, also very important that we have everything united. So we have here an anthropological lab, we have the close by the molecular lab, and we can combine information. We can tell the anthropologist what sex a skeleton had molecularly. We can tell them also if they were related in a grave, where they came from, but also diseases. People which already see on a skeleton disease markers, they can now test it with our molecular methods. And this is highly important, so we can work together closely and we can combine our knowledge and we can work here really interdisciplinary.
In the Conservation Technology Lab, tailor-made mummy preservation systems are designed and produced for museums and other locations.
The goal here is to study and design showcases for the conservation of organic finds of important historical value, such as mummies. And the main activity here is the development, realization and testing of prototypes to understand the best condition for the conservation of the mummy. And at the end we have the possibility to develop and design the showcases for the conservation. This is important for the museums and for the future generations.
So we are following an interdisciplinary approach. We are combining different fields of expertise, and we are combining these methods to study mummies from all over the world, from different parts of the world. And we try then, with these methods, try to reconstruct the ancient lives, our own history. We try to understand the evolution of disease, and we also try to compare our findings to those of modern medicine, of modern research, because we want to figure out how diseases have evolved over time. What can we learn from these ancient diseases? What does they tell us for our own modern life?